Welcome back to The Fruits, everyone. I am your host, Stacey Haynes, and today we are interviewing my good friends Dane Gancas and Emily Berger. So The Fruits is a space where initiates, clients, and students of the Modern Mystery School have a place to come and share their experience of how utilizing the various tools, rituals, and classes provided through the Modern Mystery School have helped them to create a tangible fruit in their lives. So I'm super excited to introduce my two friends here today. We've been working together for a couple of years now, and maybe a little over a year now with you, Emily. So first, I just like to start out, and you can popcorn whoever wants to go first. Who are you, and how? Well, I guess we'll start. If you don't mind, Emily, we'll start with Dane. Since you kind of came to the mystery school first, and how did that happen?
So my sister Jordan, who is your close friend, has been in it for about 5 or 6 years now. So I kind of saw her life change once she started actually diving into it deeper, and I noticed that she became more self-aware, more lived more consciously and intentionally. I always kind of had the urge to go, but back then getting me to do anything was a process.
Yeah.
As you know. Stacey was like, I want to activate you. And it just took me probably 3 years of her asking me before I was finally okay, let's dive into this. So she activated me, and I didn't really feel a lot, so I got kind of discouraged from it. But then I noticed my life started drastically changing, and I was more opportunities and fruits were presenting themselves to me, which was really nice. And that was kind of the first step I took into it. And I kind of stepped away from it again because I was a Young Life leader and I was into that more than anything. Then I stopped doing Young Life a couple years later, and kind of stopped everything spiritual. I was living for myself. Still trying to spread love to everybody, but not doing it through the scope of religion. And then I started working here at the studio, and I saw and felt everyone's energy of the fruits that they've gotten from mystery school. And it was super cool to witness that and kind of not just hear about it, but also be in it. And then I am filming a documentary for the mystery school.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can.
It's happening.
Okay.
There's
a documentary
happening.
It's being filmed.
But that's really all we can say.
Yeah. I'm one of the cameramen for it. So I went on that. I went on a trip recently for that, and that was mind blowing. All the interviews we did for that, I came back and I was like, I need to get initiated. I need you to empower myself. I really need to dive into this more. I came back and told Emily, I was like, we need to do this. I need you. I feel like this will really benefit us both if we do it together. But I really want you to hear about it more. And she's like, oh, I've always been down for it. I don't know why you guys have to do about it.
Everybody made it seem like they had to convince me, and I was like, I've been down this whole time, guys.
I don't know why I thought that, but anyways, we did it, and I mean, my life has been drastically different since then. I think Emily and I both noticed a lot more abundance in our lives.
Yeah.
In terms of happiness, and in terms of money, and in terms of energy, and in terms of job opportunities, and where it's being presented to us. So yeah, it's been really cool to go through all of this and actually see the fruits and feel them myself, where usually I would say that I never really felt anything from any sort of religion. So it's nice to go into this without any strict you're tied into this, or you have to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice having the freedom to believe what I want to believe, but also still getting the fruits from it, and still getting opportunities and that good, the positive energy from it. So
how do you feel the work in the mystery school differs from, because be clear, the mystery school is not a religion. It's a spiritual practice, essentially, and a path of spiritual progression. How would you say that path of progression is different than the religion that you were raised in?
Yeah, so I was raised non-denominational Christian. So luckily there was no like crazy religious practices I had to do. But with that, it's you don't pick and choose what you like. You don't have the freedom to pick and choose what you believe and what you want to believe.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't really be skeptical in religion as it stands. Everything's to the books, and one thing that the mystery school really does is like they want you to be a skeptic. They want you to like come into it open and want to learn, but also ask the questions that they may not know the answer to. You know, like I think it's really cool that you also just like have a connection without a third party. Yeah. So I do believe in a God. I do believe in a creator, and it's cool that I can actually like witness that inside myself now, instead of having to go through the pastor, instead of having to go through a pope, or instead of having to like follow all these like really tight-knit rules. And it's really cool that like I myself have a direct line to a higher power, positive light source, where before I felt super far away. Like there's like a hierarchy of steps I had to go through before I actually reached the potential to actually talk to that creator. So I would just say it's a lot more open and free. And yeah, like you can just be skeptical about it, and you can choose to believe it all or believe parts of it, or not believe it, and no one's going to judge you. They're just going to fill you with love still. So it's non-judgmental, which is also a huge difference than my past religious beliefs, which it's big. Emily.
What are
oh.
you?
The way that
there
you're
was
looking
no
at me.
cue there.
The way that you're looking at me, I was just
like what?
So do you feel like, Emily, does that kind of like ring true for you and your upbringing as well, or?
Yeah, I was not religious for a while, and then my mom, my sister, and I started going to church. We went to it was non-denominational, but technically Lutheran. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just church. It was like a pretty like comfortable church. But as I got older and we kept going, I just kind of started to notice the hypocrisy within the church and how I really felt like I just wasn't connecting with it, and how I just felt like I could see through like the fakeness of it. That sounds, I don't know. I just didn't feel a connection with it. I felt like I was having to force it out of out of fear of going to hell, basically.
Yeah.
Like I had to do a what's it called?
Testimony.
No, my confirmation. I did confirmation, and I had to get up and speak in front of the whole church about how God had worked in my life, and I had never felt a connection to God at all. And so I basically got up in front of my church and lied to all of them about God had worked in my life, and I was like, this isn't right. Like this doesn't, and I never felt comfortable enough to talk to somebody about like how I didn't feel a connection, because I felt like then I was going to be judged. There's like, it was just not a great situation. So I basically just told my mom I wasn't going anymore, which was rough. But I stopped going because I didn't feel a connection. And then once Dane and I started dating, both of our parents are pretty religious. So we were like, well, let's give this another chance. I'd always said that I believe in something higher. I just didn't really know what it was. I just knew there was something bigger than just me, and I kind of felt that if I ever felt a pull or connection to like God in the sense of Christianity, well then I'll try it. But I've read books on like other religions and things like that, just because I felt like there was always really great lessons to be learned in these different teachings, and you don't necessarily have to like pray or do all these practices. Like you can still be a good person and love and learn these lessons through these different teachings. So that was kind of my whole entire mindset. But then we decided we would try to go to church, and we did, and it was horrible.
Oh no.
I left so angry every single time. It was really bad.
Yeah.
We were just like, okay, this is just kind of solidifying. This isn't where we need to be. And then, some of my stories are about to overlap with Dane's a little bit, but obviously we're connected with you and Jordan, and so we knew a little bit about the mystery school, but not a lot. Like, we weren't very educated on it.
Yeah.
And then even when I got my life activation, I really wasn't that educated. But after I got my life activation, my life did transform a bit. Like, it was pretty bananas. Yeah. And at the time, I was like, oh, is it just a coincidence? Like, right. I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't know what it is, but something happened, and that's all that matters. And so once Dane started working with Logan, and we were more and more involved in with their lives and who they are as people, I could definitely just like see over time how like they started like working through Dane, like, and how he would just come home talking about these different things, and like literally it's like their energy was like going through him somehow. Like you totally changed in a great way. And so then we did our Empower Thyself, and now we're here. I was going to say something else, but honestly, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
But that's kind of, I guess, the gist of, like, my previous, like, spiritual practices and, like, where I am now. So Dane and I did the Empower Thyself with Casey, and we've been, like, okay with our rituals. I really think we need to put more effort into, like, holding each other accountable to doing them more on a regular basis. I think about them all the time, but we don't always do them. We need to definitely, like, make it more of a habit. That way it just is more normal. You know, you just like wake up and do it. Before you go to bed, you do it. We just need to make it more of a habit. But we're definitely kind of like trying to work it and figure out like how this fits into our lives and how we fit into it, you know? But it definitely isn't something that's felt super forced.
Yeah.
That's why I think we're like just kind of like where we're at with our rituals and things like that. Yeah. And like it'll slowly just kind of like grow.
Right.
But yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Would you say that you've had like that experience of God since coming to the mystery school? And like, because you mentioned in school you had to like, or not school, but in church you had to like go up and lie to the congregation about this amazing mystical experience you had with God. But have you had an experience of that or anything of the sort since, you know, your life activation or since Empower Thyself?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that I'm still like my connection with like through energy and stuff is still growing.
Sure.
So I don't think it's quite developed yet to the point where I've like felt something. But I can safely say that whenever I was in Empower Thyself and they started to explain kind of how different like religious leaders all connect through everything, it really, really just connected all the dots for me, because that was something that I had already kind of believed in and had been thinking and feeling. And so to like hear other people feeling the same way and how all these things just truly connected with each other, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is it. Like this is what I've been like saying and feeling, and now it like definitely helped solidify like how I was feeling about the mystery school, and just kind of like I forgot what I was saying.
It just brought it all together.
Yeah, it just brought it all together. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I had a similar experience in Empower Thyself and also similar being raised religious and Christian. I was raised Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, and then with a sprinkling of non-denominational and a sprinkling of Presbyterian. And
wow.
Yeah, just like
you got it all.
I got a very good taste.
Good.
You know, I feel like I'm very well-rounded.
Good.
And I too resonated with like feeling separated from God, and just that, you know, the whole idea of God being wrathful and judgmental. It's like I don't think my God's like that. Like I think he's a nice guy. Like I think he loves me. You know. So I feel like also when I took Empower Thyself, and all of these different keys and teachings were handed down to me from my guide, Aaron, it was like everything, all these like puzzle pieces of spirituality and myself and like how I fit into the world all finally came together. And it was all these different things that I couldn't articulate on my own were coming together, and it was really cool to have that experience.
Yeah, and it just like makes sense.
Yeah.
Suddenly it just clicks.
Yeah.
And like, this is it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Dane, I have a question for you. So, when you were filming for the documentary, and I know where it's, you know, private, we can't really talk about anything with that, but like, what was it about the initiates that were interviewed? What was it that you saw that they had that you were like, I want that? Their skin.
I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, like
we do have great skin.
No, honestly, it's the light.
It's the light.
That's such a crazy thing though. But we interviewed one lady. I'm not really sure. Yeah, so we interviewed someone, and she's older, and her skin was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like no blemishes. She was the hardest working older lady. It was crazy, and I was just like, why? Because I was like one of our first interviews. Like I was like, why? And I was sitting behind the camera, like, well, we're filming this, and I was like, what about her makes her so like energetic still? Because like everybody I know who's the same age is like falling apart, memory wise, literally body wise. You know, so as we were interviewing her more and more, she's like, well, you know, I just have a bunch of light flowing through me at all times, and like, I don't know how I'm able to do all this stuff, but like, I'm able to build whatever I want, whenever I want, and move, and like get out there and like still be active and like still take my dog on walks and like live the life that I want to live when I'm older. So I was thinking with that, I was like, okay, that's awesome. And then the confidence, and then just the energy of these people. You know, like I was behind the camera, but the entire time I was taken away by everything that everybody was saying. And every interview I had more insight and more insight and more insight and more insight. And then every day I was just getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and using those practices that they were all talking about on the trip with my like little bit of knowledge that I had about it. So I considered it my odyssey. It's definitely like my hero's odyssey. And that was kind of like my theme. Like, yes, I was filming, but also I was taking in so much information that I've been yearning for so long, and like searching for so long. So after all these interviews, I got back and I was like, okay, I need to take this leap. So I don't think there's just like one thing in particular. I think it's just the whole energy that everybody had. And I was going in there not yet initiated, but being treated like I was family by everybody there. And just like the love that I felt. I think that's the biggest thing. It was like love, and it was peaceful. And I think for me, those are like the two foundations that we need to have in this world, is like love and peace. They go like hand in hand, but without them, you just live in a dark world. That's you know. So everyone spoke about Shambhala. That's called, Shambhala.
Coming to planet Earth very soon.
I know.
Hopefully.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's
It has
coming.
to come.
It's coming.
But yeah, so it was just the peace and the lack of judgment. You know, like I never once that I was there did I feel like anybody was judging me. I just felt loved and welcome and at peace, but also like an empty vessel just being completely full without any roots. And then I came back, Empower Thyself, and rooted, and it was like an explosion of everything.
Light flowed into my life.
No, literally, like I got back and I felt like a light bulb, and then I got back, and then did the Empower Thyself, and my light bulb turned into like friggin' spotlight.
10 times.
Yeah, 10-fold. Yeah, so I don't think it was just one thing. I think it was just the culmination of just all the positive energy, like lack of negative egos.
Lack of negative egos. Man, can you imagine what the world would be like if we didn't have, no one had a negative ego? I think that would actually be Shambhala. So
I think so.
That'd be crazy.
So to clarify, Shambhala is world peace, and world peace is the mission of the Modern Mystery School. And the only way that we can create world peace is by first creating that peace within ourselves. And so that's why everything starts with a life activation, because you really need that light to come into your physical body, into your life, to flow out everywhere else, so that you can be that vessel of peace for the world and really start working towards your purpose and who you are and what you're supposed to do in this world and how we all fit into the world together. So that was awesome. Thank you guys. What would you say, do you feel like Empower Thyself, I mean, you did Empower Thyself together, so I'd imagine that changed your relationship in some way?
I think it was really important for us to do it together. Like, there wasn't really a question on it. I felt that it would have been hurtful if we hadn't done it together. I think it was really important that we did, just so that we could both essentially like level up together, and it would be great growth for us as individuals, but then also as like a unit. You know, that way it's not one of us trying to, because you can't. It's hard to talk to people about it.
Sure.
You know, and so it just made sense, and we were both interested in doing it, and so we talked about it, and we were just decided.
I think it's helped our relationship. I mean, we've had some like hard conversations since doing it, and I think the difference in my reactions and like my side of these hard conversations has been more clear.
I don't know what hard conversations you're talking about. Like picking a place to go to dinner? No, I just
that can be challenging.
I know, right?
In any relationship.
It's a problem for us constantly. But I think that it was really beneficial for us to do it together.
Yeah.
Because now we're both on the same page, and also it's really nice to have that person just to constantly be able to talk about and kind of bounce off ideas and things like that. And I mean, obviously we have our guides and everybody else, but it is nice to have somebody at home. I mean, we also had like Logan and Casey to talk to about this because they didn't do it together, and so we had their story as an example to kind of also help influence our decision making. And I'm really glad with our decision. I think that it was the right decision for us. And I mean, we only took the class like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. It's
so
a little soon. But
I'm really it'll be really, really cool because we both have the drive to continue taking classes. So as we continue to go through this journey together, I think it's just gonna like bring us closer, and it's giving us the opportunity to grow as individuals, but then also just as like a couple, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And so I think it's great. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I'm proud of you guys too. I mean, I feel like you both have changed completely since we first met, and I feel like, would you say, so it's been a little bit, or it's only been a little bit of time, a couple of weeks since you did Empower Thyself. So that's a lot to integrate, you know, like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, but you guys have had some time to integrate your life activations. So, and you both have changed immensely since that time, and your lives have changed immensely just from the life activation. So, what would you say is the greatest fruit from maybe your life activation?
I don't know. I remember going into my life, because my life activation was just
about a year ago,
like a little bit over a year ago. And I remember going into it, and my main concerns were, because COVID was happening, I needed a job.
Yeah.
And financial stability was a big thing that I just like wasn't feeling, and that's something that was really important to me. And I remember that was a huge concern of mine at the time, and that definitely took over a lot of the conversation that you and I had whenever, like, before my activation. And like within 2 weeks after my activation, I had gotten the job that I wanted and all this stuff. And it's kind of odd how the timing has worked. Well, I guess it's not. I don't know. But the timing has worked out to where it's been about a year and I'm at the same job, and the amount of growth I've been able to like accomplish there is bananas. I've learned so much. I've leveled up so much, and I've gotten pay raises that reflect like the energy that I'm putting into my work and the efforts that I'm putting in. And now I'm in a position where I'm transferring to a new job, and it's just going to provide even more opportunities and work better with my life. So that was the big concern for me going into mine and like my activation, and that I have totally seen. It's just kind of crazy how like the job that I was wanting a year ago like fulfilled all of its needs, and now that I'm ready for something new, it's just all lining up and working out so that like literally this path is just being paved for me.
Yeah.
And it's just happening. Yeah. And I'm just like walking down the road, and it's incredible how it's all happened, because it's exactly what I needed. It's not where I thought I would have been. Like right now, it's not where I would have thought I would have been a year or two ago, but it's like exactly where I need to be right now.
That's exactly what I find happens with clients who receive life activation. It just sets them on this like fast track trajectory to who they are, what they're supposed to be doing, and who they're supposed to be working with, like who they're supposed to be in a relationship with. So it's really cool to hear you talk about that opportunity.
I'm gonna be working with Casey, and I'm working with Stacy too. We're working together.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
I'm so pumped. But yeah, what about you, Dane?
First life activation was like what, 2
years ago?
Almost 3 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was 2.
I didn't know you.
So more than 2 years. That'd be 3 years.
I didn't know you.
Anyway,
I
it was
a while ago.
It was a little bit of time ago.
Different iterations.
Different time. I have it written down somewhere.
I had about I don't know, 11
like
more inches of hair.
Yeah.
You had a lot more hair.
I had a lot more hair.
There's been many haircuts.
Didn't smell
and
as
a
good.
recent head shaping.
Yeah, this was the other day.
Decisions were made.
Yeah, decisions were made. I held on to high school a lot.
Yeah.
I had a lot of darkness in high school,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of depression and anxiety, and I kind of held on to the trauma that I caused myself in high school. And I was carrying that over into college with me, so I was using that trauma, and it was really like holding me back from making new friends and forming new relationships with people that were actually meaningful and not just like surface level. Let's go get drunk. Let's go smoke. Let's party. Like, so instead of forming those like meaningless relationships with people, after my activation, I started noticing like the people coming to my life were actually like caring about who I was as a person, not just like the version of myself that they saw. So like my friend Tyler, for example, I would say him and I got close actually after my life activation. And it wasn't one of those things where he only likes me when I'm intoxicated. He is my friend when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, anything. Like, he's actually like my brother. So I would say that's like a huge friendship and bond that formed after the activation. And I mean, we're still homies, still hang out all the time.
We had dinner with them last night.
Yeah, we did dinner with them last night.
Nice.
So I think that after my activation, it kind of just helped me drop a lot of the darkness that I was carrying.
Yeah.
I still had anxiety, but it wasn't as bad. I still had some depressed like thoughts, but they weren't as low. So it kind of just like filled me with more light and a little bit more confidence. But I was living a lifestyle where I was just kind of like hippie Dane, biking around.
Not taking showers.
Showering in the river, stuff like that. Not the best iteration of myself, but here I am now.
Here you are.
So
you look great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So kind of rolled with that and stepped away from it, like I was saying earlier. Kind of stepped away from spiritual stuff. And then this year, I graduated college in December.
Congrats, both of you.
Thanks.
Couldn't find a job, especially in Austin. So worked at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
My sister was like, "Hey, my friend has a studio. You have to go check it out." So I messaged him, Logan, and I was like,
Logan is the owner of the studio we're in right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Logan.
Thanks, Logan. So messaged him. He's like, "Oh, like we just had a baby. My life's kind of like crazy right now. I'm moving a lot of the stuff in the studio around. I was like, okay, like just let me know when." And he invites me over, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This will work. And at first, it was like, oh, I'm doing this for free. I'm like gonna work for him for free just to get experience. Get a haircut from Stacy the next day, or the same day, one of the two. And she's like, no, value yourself. You know what you're worth. I promise you, he will also respect what you're worth. So again, carrying on that darkness and that anxiety with me. I was like, no, I'm not worth it. I'm like worth free labor and whatever. But I message him and I send the draft to Stacy 5 or 6 times. And change it after what she said 3 or 4 times. Show Emily. Emily's like, go for it. Send it. He's like, yeah, let's go in and talk. So I'm talking to him, and then he starts asking me about energy stuff and like where I'm at spiritually and everything. I kind of tell him, he's like, okay, well, he goes, I want to offer you a cord cutting. So just getting rid of all the
emotional cord cutting.
Yeah. So getting rid of all the bad stuff, and then he offered to re-up my life activation. So I did that, and I think since I was more willing this time around to like really like receive, it like filled me up, and now it's like my life is complete. Like I think since like that time, my life is just like
it's like been exponential.
It's been
it's completely different.
Yeah, like the person that I was 4 months ago would have looked at me now and be like,
who is that?
Yeah, like
who's that bald guy?
And even like a year ago, can you imagine your like 2 years ago self, Dane, looking at Dane now? I don't think that he would recognize you.
It would be
like you're a totally different person.
It would have been
you're
something.
Still you.
Yeah, it would have been something that I would have considered a pipe dream back then. A dream that I wanted but was unobtainable because I didn't value myself enough.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see your self-value really grow over the past years, and especially in the past couple months, because I remember having conversations whenever you were first meeting with Logan, and he was like, Dane, I need you to tell me like what you're worth. Like, tell me how much you want to get paid. Like, this is an energy exchange, and I understand that you're going to be working hard, and I need to know what that like, and like monetary compensation is just kind of how it works. And so, and Dane was just like, I don't know. Like, and like really lowballing himself. And we were all just like, dude, like, we all know you're worth it. Like, and so it just kind of took that push. And then now Dane's like, oh, no, I'm kidding.
Someone say I'm too confident.
Sort of kidding.
Sort of joking.
No, I'm kidding.
No, it's been amazing to watch your transformation, because exactly what you just said, when you were sitting in my chair a few months ago and you were telling me about this job opportunity, and I was like, that's awesome, like, how much are you gonna get paid? And you're like, no, it's free. I was like, what? Absolutely not. No, I mean, you have, number one, you have tons of experience as a photographer, videographer, your major, like you have a degree, so it's like you went and did all the things, right, that we're supposed to do, and you're like, oh no, it's cool if you could throw me a few scraps, thank you, sir, may I have another. But like now you're like, no, I need a raise, and I need an assistant. No, you just say that, but no, I mean, it's amazing to watch you transform and grow, and like that confidence in you just like has come alive, and I really feel like that is what a true leader is. And you're going to help so many other people because of that confidence, and you can help relate to others that are like, no, I'm not really, worth whatever. But it's like, no, all of us, like, our worth is innate. We're like born with this worth, and we just have to discover it for ourselves. And so it's amazing to watch these tools really transform both of you guys to create more opportunity and abundance and confidence.
It's been so great.
Yeah, the confidence was awesome, especially right after Empower Thyself. Like, we went downtown to meet up with some friends afterwards, and we were both just like walking, and we were like,
That's
afterwards
so
we were just like, oh, I feel on top of the world. Like, it was just like flowing through us, and you could just feel it. That's just the only way I can describe it. You can just feel it, and
it's crazy. Like, I think honestly, since then, like, I used to be very like intimidated everywhere I went. Like, everyone's watching me. I don't want to do this. I like, especially at the gym. It's like, if I go to the gym, everyone's watching me. I need to lift more because of that. But now I like. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thanks, guys.
Big one.
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay, wait. Pause for a second. So I used to go to the gym. So I used to go to the gym and think that everyone was just like looking at me and staring at me and judging me, and so tried to lift more and then ruin my perform, or I'd go climbing and I think everyone's watching me, so I'd try harder routes only to fail
And hurt yourself.
and hurt myself. But now, like, I'll walk in there and I'll look at it and like it feels like no one's eyes are on me. Even if they all are, it feels like no one's watching me, and the only person I'm trying to battle with is myself, but not in like a negative aspect. And I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm fucking great. I'm powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a god. You know?
You are.
Yeah.
I am.
Well, it's like some of that like insecurity and social anxiety is kind of shed.
Just like cut
A
away.
huge fucking layer of the onion has been shed. Like
the programming.
The programming has been shed.
Yeah,
like,
where it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not perfect, but
of course.
I mean, like
we're all striving. We're all in training.
Yeah, but like where I was a couple months ago to where I am now is just
night and day.
Night and day. So grateful. Yeah, it's just awesome. And then I see my shadows and I'm like, yeah, I don't need you in my life anymore. You know, I'll feel it and then I'll track how long it takes me to get over the thing. That's been a huge thing. If it takes me longer than 15 minutes, then it's something deeper within myself. So if I am having anxiety or something and it's that lasts like more than 15 minutes or I'm upset about something for more than 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, this needs to be freaking worked on. And then I dive into it.
Better get my toolkit out.
Yep, better get my toolkit out. And then, you know, I do my best to fix it. Or if I'm upset with somebody because of what they did, it's like, okay, I'm in traffic, this person cut me off. Yeah, I used to have really bad road rage.
Dane driving.
So less road rage now that you've been initiated.
Just more patience.
More
patience. Yeah.
I think that's what the biggest thing is. It's like, how long am I going to let this affect me? This person cuts me off in traffic. Maybe in the heat of the moment, I'm like, dude. But like, if it affects me 15 minutes later, I'm holding on to someone who cut me off in traffic all day. There is something deeply wrong with me. Like. Reacting to the moment's one thing. Like, it's so funny. Me and Emily will be in the car and like someone will cut me off and be like, like I didn't say anything. She's like, I didn't say anything. But then I'll get over it. Whereas it used to be like, fuck, did you see that person like cut me off? Like, and it would last.
And I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's like someone.
Driving.
Yeah. But it would like bother me for a long time. So it was obviously something deeper within me. But now it's like I try every time I get upset. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Timer. Like, how long is it gonna take me to get over this thing?
You have 3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes to get over this. And if it takes longer than that, then like you gotta really battle this. Yeah. So I don't even know what the original question was, but
the fruit. What is the fruit?
Oh.
And you answered it.
The fruit is confidence.
The
and
fruit is
patience
confidence.
and peace and love, and I love everybody and a lot more compassion towards everybody now.
Good.
Which I think is a big thing.
See,
all of
you're
those.
still hippie, Dane.
Yeah.
I love everybody.
But you're like a more refined hippie.
I'm a cleaner hippie.
With less hair.
With a lot less hair.
With hardly
Some
any
people
hair.
would say this is like the hippier move that I made was shaving my head.
Would that be hippie or like hipster?
Hippie.
You think?
Yeah. Hipster would be having a man bun.
Well, either way, hippie or hipster, I appreciate you guys coming on today and sharing your experience and your fruits. And I love you both dearly. And
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you know, I hope to see you. I know you guys are going to grow even more on this path. So I'm excited to watch that transformation.
As are we.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode and received some insight. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.